Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, my thoughts on BookTube and my experiences as a BookTuber. I'm doing the Behind the BookTube tag. So this tag was created a couple of months ago by Shelley Swearingen. I really enjoyed watching Shelley's version of it when she posted it. I know I've enjoyed hearing other people's thoughts as well on these questions. I deliberately didn't do it at the time that it first came out because it was around the time of my second BookTube anniversary, and I'd just done a video that I'd done the BookTube birthday tag video, which has some kind of similar topics. So I didn't want to do this one around the same time as that, but I feel like a bit of time has passed now, and it's a really good tag. There's some really good questions here, so I thought I would give it a go. So let me go through the questions with you. So the first question is, what has surprised you the most about BookTube, both in a good way and in a bad way? So for me, BookTube was something I didn't really know existed before I started my channel. So as people who've watched the channel for a while will know, I started the channel to win a bet with my kid. And, you know, the bet was who can get to 100 subscribers first. And I thought I could you know, start a channel about watches. Watches are something else I really like. And I was someone who was already watching watch videos on YouTube. But then I thought, well, actually, I probably know more about books and I've got more to say about books, so I'll start a book channel. And having started the channel, I then started looking around to see, you know, what other channels there were doing similar things, and discovered that BookTube existed, which I had no idea about previously. So the very existence of BookTube was a surprise to me, I guess. What has surprised me, you know, since starting the channel and starting to grow the channel was what a wonderful community of people there are on BookTube, and how it, you know, typically is a very friendly community, even where people don't agree in their opinions, you know, don't necessarily hold the same opinions about books. It's a very welcoming and you know, supportive community generally. So that has been the things that have surprised me about BookTube in a good way. What surprised me about BookTube in a bad way? I suppose there are, I think, some idiosyncrasies to BookTube, which you don't necessarily see in other places on YouTube. The big one probably is there's, I think, still a bit of a stigma around monetization amongst booktubers, and some booktubers feel that monetization you know, isn't the right thing to do and somehow cheapens a channel, which I, you know, definitely disagree with. So that maybe is the less good side, but it's not, you know, it's not a problem. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on things. Second question then, how do you balance reading and BookTube with the rest of your life? So you know, reading is my main hobby, and BookTube has become an offshoot of that hobby. I probably read more now than I did before starting the channel, because I like to read things that, you know, I can talk about on the channel. And I'm certainly reading different things than I was before starting the channel. But how do I balance it with the rest of my life? It hasn't felt like a struggle in particular. I've got quite a tight routine, I guess, in terms of how I film and edit my videos and things like that, and I managed to do that without it impacting my everyday life, and I've always managed to find time for reading. I'm not someone who watches, you know, much TV at all, or you know, things like that. And where I am active on social media, it tends to be kind of in the bookish space, which I kind of see as an offshoot of reading in the channel. So it's not really been too much of a problem. There have been some periods where I have struggled a bit, and that's why I went down to doing 5 videos a week rather than 7 videos a week. But generally speaking, it's something that feels quite natural, and it just works with my day-to-day life and my family life. The one thing I have been less good at recently, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this tag today in an effort to kind of engage with the BookTube community a bit more. I had to an extent fallen out of the habit of watching other people's videos as much as I used to. So I'm definitely trying to do that more again, because there's loads of great creators out there whose videos I really enjoy and whose opinions I enjoy hearing, but also it's important to be, an active part of the community as well as just being someone who makes videos, if that makes sense. Next question then, have you ever thought about starting a Patreon? Yes, and indeed I have started a Patreon. So I have a Patreon which has been running since the start of the year, actually, and I've been surprised and delighted by the number of people who've signed up to support me in that way. It's wonderful to know people value my content. And it's been a useful way for me to try out other things. So there's a few things I've tried out with my patrons and asked their opinion on and things like that, before doing them on the channel. And it's just nice to have another way of engaging with with people who like my content. So we do a group read every month, which is always fun, and it's nice to have a group of people to chat with about books. The other thing I've really enjoyed about it actually is doing buddy reads. So I do a buddy read every month with one of my patrons, and that has been, I've discovered some wonderful books through that. So that's been a really rewarding part for me of having the Patreon. Next question, have you made any mistakes on BookTube? Yes. And I think there's two kinds of mistakes. So firstly, I make mistakes in every single video I make, no doubt. So I'm not someone who's too hung up about editing out ums and pauses and things like that. If I did that, my videos would be much, much shorter. But for me personally, as a creator, that's just part of the style of my channel, I guess, is I try to make my videos quite conversational, and that's part of normal conversation, is it? Those ums and those stumbles and things like that. I just made one there, didn't I? Because I said, is it rather than isn't it? So I don't worry too much about editing those out. I also make, I have no doubt, factual errors sometimes in my videos. I'm only human. I will, I try to do a bit of research, but, making 5 videos a week, sometimes it's different. I don't have time to do in-depth research. And equally, I don't, that's not the persona of my channel. The persona of my channel isn't meticulously researched videos like some people do. And there are some booktubers who do wonderful work in that space. My channel is more about kind of, the conversation and my opinions about books. So I'm sure I make factual errors sometimes in my videos, and people do pick me up on those in the comments sometimes, which is fine. The other type of mistake is, and I've definitely done this too, is making mistakes about, I suppose, the way I engage with the rest of the community. And that's why I tend not to do response videos anymore, because I think sometimes response videos can just end up feeling like you're prolonging an argument. It's fine that everyone has different opinions on things and different approaches to the way they run their channels and that kind of thing. But I've decided to not get engaged in those arguments which sometimes crop up on BookTube, because I'm here to make content about books and share books that I enjoy, rather than have debates about how people run their channels and what are the right sorts of books to read and all that kind of thing. I have made videos in the past which, on reflection, I wouldn't, I don't necessarily regret making them, but I wouldn't make them now, which are maybe a bit more argumentative. So that's something I've decided, made a conscious decision to change about my approach to BookTube, is to try and back away from those those kind of argumentative type of videos. Okay, next question then. Do you have any advice for new booktubers? So yeah, definitely. I made a video a while ago actually about with my tips on what to do. I think, apart from the age old one about being yourself and not trying to be someone else, I think that's really, really important. But that's a commonly given piece of advice. The main piece of advice that I have is figure out what your schedule should be and stick to it. So come up with a schedule which is achievable for you as a creator. And that is going to come down to, the number of times you can post a video, post videos in a month, is going to come down to a mix of, what you've got going on in your personal life, how much time you have to film, how many books you read. So it's partly that, but it's also down to how much content have you got in you that people are going to find engaging and are going to enjoy watching? You can fall into a trap if you have if you try and make too many videos a week, and I certainly think I was starting to do this when I was making 7 videos a week, of making videos that are, you're making a video to fill a slot in your schedule rather than because you've got something interesting or entertaining to show people. Now, some people would argue that on 5 days a week I'm still making too many videos, but everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I feel like I've got the balance about right. So yeah, figure out what is achievable for you, both in terms of being able to produce the content and keeping that content fresh, and then try and stick to that schedule. YouTube will reward you for having a reliable schedule, and your viewers will like knowing that they will get a video from you every Wednesday or whatever. So that is my advice. Figure out what you can do and stick to that, but don't overstretch yourself. Don't make it into something that's going to be stressful for you as an individual. And I would suggest start low, start doing a video every 2 weeks or a video every week or whatever, and then work up from there, rather than starting trying to make 5 videos a week and then reducing. Hopefully that makes sense. Next question. What are your thoughts on the YouTube algorithm? So it's a mystery, and anyone who says they fully understand it is smoking something. It's an interesting thing, and it's useful to try and understand it a bit. If you want your channel to grow, then the way your channel will grow is by people who aren't currently subscribed to your content getting presented with your content. So on their YouTube homepage, for example, getting recommendation for one of your videos. So if you can make videos which the YouTube algorithm thinks look interesting, and therefore present to other people to watch, people who aren't currently subscribers of yours, then your channel will grow. How does the YouTube algorithm do that? I don't really know. I suspect it's to do with the engagement you get from from your existing subscribers. So if you post a video that your existing subscribers really like and really engage with more than they do with your other videos, then I think it's more likely that YouTube will then push that video to other people. And if those other people then engage with it, then YouTube will push it to even more people. And I've seen this in action. I had a video that the YouTube algorithm loved, and that single video is responsible for a lot of the growth of my channel. But I couldn't tell you what I did in that video that made it so appealing to the algorithm. Do study videos that if you're interested in growing your channel, study videos that you've been recommended from people you don't subscribe to, and see if you can figure out why YouTube has recommended that video to you, and then kind of play that back into your own decision making about the kind of videos you make and the way you present them in terms of titles and thumbnails and things like that. So those I guess are my thoughts on the YouTube algorithm. I don't really understand it, but I know that if you want your channel to grow, it's important to at least consider it. Okay, next question then. How do you decide what videos to make? So I kind of have a set schedule in terms of, on a Saturday I do a wrap up. At the beginning of the month I do a wrap up for the previous month. At the end of the month I do what I'm going to read the following month, that kind of thing. I try and do at least one review video every week. And then I do, other things like book hauls and things like that. So I do a variety of different things. I try and do a top 10 video every so often because they tend to be, quite popular. But really, for me, the main decision making, once I've got that schedule set, really most of the decision making I make is about which books I'm going to review. So I read, on average, kind of 20-ish books a month. I probably review 5 or 6 books a month. So I by no means review every book that I read. So for me, that the decision making in terms of the channel is which books am I going to review? And I base the decision for that on 2 things. One, do I feel like I've actually got something interesting to say about the book? Or am I just going to sit there and say, it was good, I liked it. I liked it for these reasons. But have I actually got a point to make about the book? And And secondly, is it a book that I think my audience are going to be interested in hearing about? So, those two things together are how I make my decisions about which review videos to make. And the second part of this question is: Are you ever overwhelmed with video ideas? So yes, not always, but I've always got a backlog of ideas that I haven't got to yet. Normally about kind of 10 ideas or so. So I have I use an app called Drafts, where I just make notes about videos I think I might make at some point in the future. If I'm reading a book, I will make notes, for my review video as I read the book. But yeah, I use it. Sometimes it's just a one-liner, like, top 10 of this kind of book, or, why do, I don't know, why are X type of books really popular? So, something like that. Just an idea that's come to me, and I typically will make a note of it and then just let it germinate over time and see if it matures into an idea for a video that I actually think people are going to want to watch. So yes, sometimes overwhelmed with video ideas. Definitely have more ideas than I make videos, but I think that's right. I'd rather have too many ideas than too few. Question 8: Have you regretted posting a video? Going back to what I've said before about trying to step back from more controversial types of videos, I don't know that there's one I really regret posting, but there are certainly ones that I wouldn't post now. Let's put it that way. Question 9 has 2 parts. Are the number of views, subscribers meaningful to you? So yes, and I don't know if this sounds shallow. Maybe it does, but it has been for me enormously validating for the channel to have become successful, and it's far more successful than I ever expected it to be. So to have, as I'm filming this, I've got, I think, 28,000 subscribers, thereabouts, which is a crazy number. I can't believe that many people are interested in watching me talk about books. So as someone who has written book reviews on various blogs over the years and never really had, any particular success, and also as someone who is deeply introverted and shy and self-conscious and terrible in public, the idea that I can do something in public, speaking does not come naturally to me. So the fact that I sit here and talk to my phone and people enjoy watching that content is and subscribe to me as a result is amazing to me. So in terms of sorry, I said speaking didn't come natural and then proved it by failing to get words out. So the fact my subscriber count has grown and continues to grow is wonderful. In terms of views on individual videos, I don't make a video and it get less views than normal and think, oh damn, I shouldn't have made that video. I make videos, I make the videos I make because I feel like I've got something to say, and sometimes more people will engage with that message and sometimes less people will engage with that message, and that's fine. It's useful to keep an eye on the view counts on individual videos to understand, what works and what people enjoy. So I definitely pay attention to it, but it doesn't bother me if one of my videos gets, less views than others. And the second part of this question is: Are the number of views, subscribers a measurement of success? So yes and no. So they're a measurement of success in terms of your success as a YouTuber. So your success as someone who is making content on a platform which is a commercial platform, which where the only metrics that are that are tracked are the ones about engagement and the number of views and so on and so forth. So on that level, yes, view count and subscriber count is an indicator of success. But on the other side, no, absolutely not. What matters, what should matter for people as creators is the sense of achievement and fulfillment they get out of being part of the BookTube community. And that's certainly what's important to me. So what's, you know, as many people say when they talk about why they started their channel in the first place, it's because they didn't have people in their day-to-day lives that they could talk to about books. And BookTube allows them to have those kinds of conversations with people, both through making videos and in the comments. And that is certainly true for me as well. So the real pleasure for me of BookTube, and the thing that I get, you know, I get most joy out of from BookTube, is chatting to people about books, sharing recommendations about books, you know, getting recommendations of books I might enjoy. And I've read so many wonderful books that have been recommended to me through BookTube, either by watching other creators' content or where people in the comments have said, you know, I liked your review of book X, I really think you'd enjoy book Y as well. So that for me is, you know, for me personally, is the real success of my BookTube channel, is that engagement with people. Right, next question. Are you disappointed by the growth of your channel? So no, I'm overwhelmed by the growth of my channel. I'm delighted that, you know, as I said, I'm amazed and delighted that people enjoy my content. I'm bemused by the growth of my channel, maybe rather than disappointed. Next question then is, have you ever thought about quitting BookTube? So in the early days, I thought I would quit BookTube. My plan was to get to 100 subscribers, to win that competition with my kid, and then quit. But I've enjoyed it so much, I've stuck around, and as long as I continue to enjoy it, I will continue to stick around. So no, I've never thought seriously about quitting. I think there's been a couple of occasions, maybe where there's been a bit of drama, or I've had like some negative comments or things like that, where I've kind of maybe wavered a tiny bit, but never seriously. I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to all of you. I enjoy your comments, so I'm going to keep doing it. Next question then, what are the most touching comments? So I think for me, the most touching comments have been comments from people who say, you've helped me get back into reading, or you've helped me get into reading in the first place. I've had videos from, I had comments on videos from people who've said, I never used to even think about reading, but I got recommended one of your videos and I've watched it, and now I've read all these books and it's fantastic. And it's, I had one comment from somebody who was going through a terrible time in their life, like struggling with addiction and things like that. And they said that books were helping them. Books were helping them fight their addiction. And, my videos were helping them find books and find enthusiasm for reading. And that was helping them in a really meaningful way. And that's amazing. That was so moving to me. Someone who struggled with mental health and addiction myself in the past, to have a comment like that was just incredible. And similarly, I made an atypical video a while ago about my own struggles with alcohol, which is one that the algorithm seems to like, and it's consistently getting a lot of views from people who weren't previously subscribers of mine. And I've had some lovely comments on that video. Comments, congratulating me on having been sober for 2 years. So that's what the video was about, was marking my 2 years of having given up alcohol. So comments from people congratulating me on that, which are lovely. Lots of comments from people telling their own stories about, their own sobriety and how they've managed to give up alcohol and other forms of addiction, which are fantastic to read as well. And also videos from people saying, I've been aware I've had a problem for a while. Your videos has helped me, crystallise my thoughts about that, and I'm now quitting. So that, again, is just wonderful. Just so lovely to have comments like that. The second part of this question then is, what are the most negative comments? So I think I've had two sorts of negative comments. So the first sort is, so I don't consider myself to be a massively political person, but I have, if I'm reading a book that's got political subtext and things like that, I will comment on that in my reviews. And similarly, I did, I've done videos where I recommend, books by diverse authors and things like that. And I quite often get comments on those videos. Particularly, there's one video in particular where I recommended like 30 horror novels. And I say at the start of the video, I'm aware of my own biases. Yeah, so I'm aware that a lot of the horror I read when I was in my teens and 20s, at a time when there was not a lot of horror from diverse voices. So a lot of the books I'm going to talk about in this video are by white male, white heterosexual male cisgendered authors. And I'm aware, and I was acknowledging my own bias. And I've had so many comments on that video from people saying, you're an idiot. It doesn't matter what the author, it doesn't matter who wrote the book. Why do you keep going on about this stuff? Some quite hateful comments about that as well, which just initially were quite upsetting, and eventually have just become tiresome, because that's a video that has done well and keeps getting recommended by YouTube. So every, probably once a week, I get a comment like that on that video, and I've just started ignoring them because I just can't be bothered with them anymore. So that's the first sort of negative comment. The second sort of negative comments is, and this was a revelation to me, and in a way, whilst these are negative comments, it's been a very useful experience to me. So negative comments about my appearance, and particularly my teeth. Okay, so I've had quite a few people commenting on my teeth. Now my teeth are bad. Yeah, they're good in terms of like the structure and health of my teeth. I have very few fillings, even as a 50-year-old. I've not really had problems with decay and things like that over the years. So I have good teeth in that respect. But my teeth are by no means evenly distributed in my mouth, shall we say? And on videos, and both these sorts of negative comments, I would say, have come on videos that have been pushed by the algorithm. So I've gone outside my normal circle of viewers. My normal circle of viewers are wonderful, lovely people who leave lovely comments and who I really enjoy engaging with. But when you get a video that is pushed outside into the wider YouTube space, you do discover that there are some arseholes on the internet, which should be no surprise. So I've had negative comments about my appearance. And it occurred to me when I had those comments that I'm really lucky. I'm a guy. I'm a middle-aged guy. And middle-aged guys, men of my age are not used to getting comments about their appearance. Either negative comments or positive comments. We're just not used to it because we're not objectified in that way. Whereas, young women and no doubt young men as well, in this age of of the internet and appearance and things like that, are no doubt really used to getting negative comments about their appearance, and probably also used to getting comments which the people making the comments think are positive, but which are actually unwanted and unhelpful. Creepy comments about their appearance. So for me, it was revelatory to have those comments and to be able, in a small way, to understand what it's like to get comments like that, because it made me more understanding, I guess, of the experience of people who aren't old white guys. That was a really interesting experience for me. So I think I've come to the end of the questions. I have. Oh no, one final question. So in regards to BookTube, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So, I'm never expected to get to 2 years. I didn't expect to get to 2 weeks. But I got to 2 years and I'm still really enjoying it. So in 5 years, I hope I'm still really enjoying it. I hope I'm still making the same sort of content, still getting the same sort of engagement from people and still enjoying it as much. So that's where I see myself in 5 years. Still here, still babbling on about books and hopefully getting people to read stuff they wouldn't have read otherwise, and helping people to enjoy trashy books and all sorts of different sorts of books. So that's where I see myself in 5 years. So that is the questions gone through. I'm not going to tag anyone because this tag has been around for a couple of months, as I say, so I think pretty much everyone's done it. But I wanted to give my views because I think there's some really interesting questions from Shelley there. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough. This video has gone for half an hour, which is long for me, so apologies for that. But anyway, yeah, I will leave it there and say, as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.